Well, Friday has gotten here on the Rick Corey Sports Special, and the smiling gentleman in the picture there is Keith Riggs, the head football coach of the Jenks Trojans. I want to point out, Keith, by the way, I see you in your nice Oklahoma shirt. These are my Christmas hanging light shirts. This is the same Nike sweatshirt I have worn to hang Christmas lights at my house for 20 years. I have no idea
Wow.
why that's the only time I wear it, but I do. So it's that time of year. Are you getting anything out at your house, or are you too busy with football?
Well, my dad usually helps out putting up the lights, and my wife loves Christmas lights, and my dad and mom both love Christmas lights, so they find a way to be put up somehow or another between
Yeah,
all of us.
I got to ask because we have a very short period between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We started seeing, and we do anyway, started seeing Christmas ads a long time ago. But I've seen in my neighborhood, there are 12 houses with lights already on. And traditionally, we don't do it till after Thanksgiving. So you guys are already getting into it now, or are you going to wait till after Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I have to admit we have some lights up right now. We're not done, but we have started. Yes.
Good man. Well, that's not the only thing that started. The playoffs are starting tonight as well. Yeah, of course, a bye week for Jinx. Tell me how your week went.
Really good. You worry in a bye week when you're not don't have that same focus on, okay, Friday is the day. We got to be ready Friday. You worry about how, your team is going to handle that. But I thought we had four really good practices this week. I feel like we got a lot accomplished, and we're also trying to get some guys healed up. And so we made some progress there.
There's no question. And there's that, we talked about this last week. There's that tension between rest and rust. And there's only one letter difference, but it sure makes a difference. How do you plan to keep it away this next week?
Well, and we discussed that last weekend when we were working on our practice schedules. We traditionally shorten up our practices a little bit as we get close to the playoffs. We shortened them up a little bit this week, so we could get after each other a little bit and go really hard to keep the rust off, right?
Right.
But not just wear our kids out. So trying to strike that balance between getting some real good productive work, but letting our kids kind of freshen up.
Man, you sure had some weather to do that too, didn't you?
Oh, the weather's been awesome. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, last night was a great night for a football game. Didn't go like Tulsa wanted, but boy, it was a heck of a game. So you're going to get the winner of Union and Mustang. You see, obviously seen Union in that classic earlier this year, a late touchdown that was not called, or a late catch that was called not a catch in that game. I certainly don't want to use the R word, but I got to think your guys feel like they'd love to see the Red Hawks again, or do you care?
Well, ultimately, the bottom line, it doesn't matter. You're going to see a really good football team in the playoffs. But getting a chance, another shot at a team that's beaten you certainly is intriguing, I think, for us as coaches and for our players.
I would think so. There's no question. When you look at those two teams, give me some superlatives from both. Obviously, you know Shaker really well, but this Mustang is also a team that we're all familiar with on this side of the state. We know how Coach Blankenship's teams play. Tell me about both of them. What do you see that you think is really good?
Well, for Union, you mentioned Shaker, he just doesn't miss. I mean, he is so accurate. His completion percentage is just through the roof. Um, so, you've got to be real sound defensively, because if a guy is open, he's going to hit him. He just doesn't miss. And, defensively, a lot of different looks, finding as many ways as possible to bring just four guys. So they're coming from different places to get pressure on the quarterback. Union does a great job with that. Um, Mustang, it kind of starts with their quarterback as well. Now, he's a very different guy from Shaker,
Yeah.
kind of a dual threat, big physical kid, runs the ball really well, which puts pressure on a defense when you have a quarterback run game. And you know, defensively, they just have a bunch of um, guys that don't do anything spectacular, but they do their job and they fly to the football and they make you snap it again.
They're scrappers. I mean, I've
Yes.
always felt that about them. They're never out of a game because those kids act like they're loading a hay truck and they got to get it in before the snow. I mean, they just always play with a bit of sense of urgency, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
I've been asking coaches this week because I've said this to you before. I love program guys. We talk about your stars. We talk about we do that all the time. Give me some unsung heroes, some guys during your season whose names don't make the paper, who people aren't talking about on podcasts or on TV shows or radio shows, but they're key to what you do. And I know you can't name everybody, but throw some people out.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of them, and it is, I think, what makes a program special is when you have those guys that put in the work every year for that opportunity as seniors to make a difference, even if it's without their name ever being called. Bowen Waresback is a special teams guy. Um, you might not even think he's a football player if you saw him on the street, right? Nothing overwhelming about him, but he just gives you everything he's got, and he's been a great special teams player for us. Logan Finch is one, same thing, special teams, and just got better and better at running back. Filling in situations. Just had an injury recently and is out for the year. I hate that for him, but he's another one that just went out and did everything he could to help our team. Rhett Pangburn, who's a backup defensive lineman, and we've had some injuries there, and he's always been ready to come in and do a great job up front whenever he's called upon. And there are many more. I could go on and on, but those are just great examples.
Yeah, I like to get those kids' names out there. And there's something about those grinders. They don't mind it, do they? They like the grind.
They do, and it's so uncommon, today for guys to have that patience and persistence, and to put in the work because it's best for the team. In spite of maybe it's not, to get their name called, but it's going to help the team. Absolutely.
No doubt about that. Speaking of the team, and you mentioned last week, nobody even says blonde hair till the playoffs, but I'm assuming everybody's blonde now.
Um, every day we have a few more trickle in that got that done. Yeah. Uh, it's we don't really talk about it a lot or talk about people getting it done, but they just you have a few more every day that have found the time to get it done, and it's a great look. We had a picture taken of a handful of our guys for an event outside of football, and they were almost all blonde, and it's I love the look when we see our guys like that.
You gotta be, yeah, it's gotta just make you smile when they walk in the locker room. There's something about that that just says, all right, we turn it up right here.
It is. It's kind of that rite of passage that we know it's playoff time, and that's kind of a visual cue for everybody.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Yeah, everybody talks about getting hot at the right time, get in and get hot. That's kind of the terminology. How do you do that? I mean, if I guess it was easy, we'd sell it at Walmart and we'd be rich.
Yeah, if you had the magic formula, you could make a lot of money. Um, it's got to be about the process, I think, not just the end result. And we talk so much with our kids about just continuous improvement, trying every day to get a little better, and that's everybody. That's not our guys that score touchdowns. That's
Right.
the scout team guy, right? That is trying to make the guy crossing better. And if your team as a whole does that, if they walk on the field with the purpose of getting better, it's going to happen. For some teams, it happens faster than others, but um, if you can maintain that type of focus week in and week out, when you get to the playoffs, you're going to give yourself a chance.
You talked about consistency all year, but let's go game one to game 10 and tell me what area of your team, and I don't mean inconsistency, I mean an actual position group or in actual play, has consistently improved the most 1 to 10.
Wow. probably our offensive line. If you go from week 1 to week 10, the improvement that they've made has been tremendous, and certainly had a big impact on the success of our football team. Um, but yeah, if I had to pick one group, it would be that group.
Yeah, all right. And I also ask coaches this, if there's a thing your team has to do to remain hot and to have your best chance to win a gold ball in the playoffs, what would it be?
Well, we've done a great job of taking care of the football. Um, we have 2 turnovers right now on the season. So if we can take care of the football, certainly there's a lot more that goes into it, but what turnovers are huge in a game. Um, we've seen it in some of the upsets,
Yeah.
the last couple of weeks. So if we can continue to take care of the football and win the turnover battle, I think that'll be huge.
Now, I know you're not a guy who likes to do comparisons, but I'm gonna throw one at you here. If you were a fan and you could go to any playoff game tonight and you had to buy a ticket, would it be Norman North and Moore? Would it be Norman and Westmore? Would it be Deer Creek Broken Arrow or be Union Mustang? And you got to take yourself out of the coach role because you do the Union Mustang as a coach. As a
Yeah,
fan, which one would you want to buy a ticket to?
you know, I would. I think Norman North more just because Norman North has really come on here late in the season. They're putting up a lot of points, a lot of yards. Um, we have faced more, so I know they have a really good offense. So I think I would really like to see that matchup.
Yeah, anytime Norman North to me is really fun to watch. Eshelman is, I mean, he just keeps playing. The kid doesn't look spectacular at anything, yet he's 8 yards past you downfield, right? They've got the great receiver. They have that number 0, who's I can't remember his name, but he was just a destroyer on defense. They are a fun team, but I think we have maybe one of the more balanced playoffs we've had.
Well, there's a lot of really good teams. I mean, I know in our district, look at Norman and how well they're
Yep,
playing. Um, Deer Creek has a really good football team. They've just run up against a bunch of really good football
football
teams,
teams.
and so I do think it's probably as balanced as it has been in a long time.
Once tonight's games are over, how quickly do you guys get to work on plans?
Um, First thing in the morning, officially. I think in your mind you start, as soon as the final horn blows tonight, you start in your mind contemplating things you need to do and things you need to work on and things we need to make sure we have in the game plan. But we'll officially convene in the morning and get to work together.
Yeah, see, I thought about driving by your office tonight, see if there's that one single light bulb just hanging there shining, because I wouldn't be terribly surprised.
Uh, it won't be here at the office, but yeah, in my noggin, I'll be working for
I,
sure.
I got you. All right. Well, look, no matter where you go or what you see tonight, I hope you get a little rest before you get started, and we'll visit again next week. Thanks, Keith.
All right, thank you, Rick.